So, starting a business on your own is not for the faint-hearted because no one tells you about the endless nights you have where you're deep in your own thoughts and you think there's no way out, and you're drowning in doubt and questioning yourself. Why me? Am I even good enough for that? And there are also days like, well, feeling like I'm standing in the storm of my own thoughts. It's like there's a tornado going around you. You don't know where you can go, and trying to bring a vision, a true vision that you have to life, forces you to confront yourself with every single part of yourself, with your strengths, with your weaknesses, with your fears, and everything that you buried deep down low. So you're gonna dissect yourself on this journey. It's a wild, terrifying, but also deeply personal journey. And it's one that will break you down. And that's piece by piece. But here's the thing, even when I have these dark days, and there are plenty of them, I remind myself that this is the part of the process. And the process is something that you need to embrace on this journey. It's not easy, it's not glamorous, it's not shiny, but I personally believe that this is worth it. Want to give you a quick video on how I navigate these dark days because maybe you feel the same yourself or in the same position, trying to start a business or trying something new for the first time on your own. And I know that can be terrifying. And I want to tell you how I navigate these mental battles and why it's important to move forward, even when you have the feeling that you're falling apart and you can't get out of bed. So let's get started. You know, when you have a true vision of your future or what you want to create, it feels like the universe is trying to tell you something. It's like a whispering on the backside of your head, and you can't get it out. And sometimes it's also screaming at you. That wasn't my case. It sounds crazy, but I feel like there's a future version of myself trying to send me a message back across time and space to say, hey, this is your path. Forget everything else. Forget everything left. Forget everything right. This is your path. It was an exciting feeling when I finally decided to move on the path, but it also was kind of terrifying. And to be honest, I really felt paralyzed in that moment. I was trapped in my own thoughts 24/7. It was like living in a prison that I built on my own with my own thoughts. And the one thing I asked myself was, okay, when this is my path, what if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if I lose myself? Yeah, as I said, I was paralyzed and I didn't move an inch over weeks because it's not that I didn't want to do it, but I was simply too scared. Scared of my own vision and scared to risk it all. So one day there was one single moment, it was in July, where something in me broke. I hit a point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. It was so loud in my head. I did the first thing that came to my mind. I took kind of like this one, a piece of paper and a pen, and just old fashioned wrote down, okay, what will my life look like if I move on the path I'm right now, or when I cut everything loose and move to the new path? And I just wrote these two versions of my future down, the upsides, the downsides, and it took me a couple of hours. So I started around 11 a.m. and I sat on my kitchen table until 6 p.m. and I just wrote everything down, every single detail. And when I looked at the paper and I saw that in my future, when I cut everything loose, when I have the courage to do it, is so exciting and has so much more positive sides than negative sides compared to the other side. I said to myself, okay, Michael, today is today. Now it's time to jump. But the thing is, just because you're jumping, that doesn't mean that the fear goes away. If anything, it gets louder. And the hardest thing I had to deal with at that moment was I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to bring this vision to life. And these thoughts that creep in when I compare myself to others, when I focus only on the problems, my mistakes in my project, in my startup, and look on the other side and everything that you can imagine. And it's a rabbit hole you go down that I don't recommend to go down. But it happened. And I had to figure a way out. So, but it's not all dark. There's also something I learned along the way, that these thoughts are part of the process. And I found ways to manage them myself. I went through them with intense workout. I completely broke down my body, but it cleared my head and it was very beneficial. I had, late night yoga sessions. I'm not a yogi at all, but I just downloaded the app and thought, okay, give it a try. And now every time I go to bed, I do 30 minutes of that. And it's just like, it, it sounds completely nuts, but it's just like saving all the data from the day and just, okay, now it's time to go to bed. What helped me also very, very much is talking to friends and also my mentor. When we have calls, I'm completely honest, I'm completely open. But the most important thing is to remind myself why I even started. That moving forward is a good thing. Even if it feels impossible, it's the only way to silence the voices. Progress. One of the hardest battles I had so far with myself was to let go of the feeling of being safe and just take the leap. It's like you're standing at the edge of a cliff and you're jumping down and you're not knowing, okay, will I crash or will I learn to fly on the way? And I'm still falling. There's only one way to find out what you're going to do, and that's by jumping. What helped me overcome that fear and just take the jump, the leap of faith, it was listening to myself, to my inner self. It is something I cannot let die. And also surrounding myself with people who think big and take action. People who want more out of life than just this day-to-day struggles. You know, like-minded people, people who believe in the good side of life, who help each other up, who lift each other. They reminded me also that fear is normal, but staying stuck is a choice. And this channel is called The Space Journey. And the thing about this journey is not that I'm taking giant leaps every day. Sometimes it's the smallest, tiny steps forward, these little wins. But at the end of each day, I ask myself, okay, what did I do today to move forward in my vision? And as I learned recently, also, taking time off is also a step forward. It's not a step backwards because you're filling up your batteries. Sometimes the answer is something big like a space event, an investor pitch, finishing a pitch deck, or have this huge wins. But on the other side, it's also little things like, okay, today I didn't make anything worse. But those small wins, they add up. And when the time comes and the day is done, the week is done, I force myself to let my mind rest because I know that the tiniest progress is still progress. If you ever felt like you're not good enough, or the road ahead is too overwhelming, and that you make such tiny progress, or that you make so much mistakes, you are not alone. And all these doubts, all these fears, they don't mean that you're failing. They mean that you are growing. You know, building something from nothing, especially doing it on your own, is one of the hardest things that you can do. But it's also one of the most rewarding. It forces you to keep going even when you think it's impossible. So now at the end of the video, I want to ask you, what are the biggest mental challenges that you've overcome? What are your biggest fears while chasing your dreams? How do you deal with them? What are your tools to survive those dark days? Let me know in the comments and let everyone else know in the comments so we can help each other. And if this video resonated with you, hit the like button, hit subscribe, because I'm for myself, am just getting started, and I really love for you to be part of the journey. Take care. Oh, and before I forget it, you're capable of more than you think, even on your hard days.